morning. Oh, I love the background, Kim McAllister.
Ooh, that's nice. Did you put that up?
I didn't. I think that's just a mistake. I think I
It's
clicked something.
nice.
Like it's not Pride Month though, but we are having.
How did it happen?
I don't, dude. I'm telling you, this morning has been insane. So sorry we're a little bit late. My computer decided to do an update overnight because I left it on like awake, and so it just automatically does it. And so my computer wasn't working, my audio wasn't working. So I'm a little discombobulated to start this morning, but we are here for the Nikki Medoro show. Thank you all for being here and being oh so patient. We are here. I'm hoping we have no other hiccups or whatever, but it's just live broadcast. It's fine. We do have a great show coming up. We're going to touch on here in Northern California, specifically like the North Bay area and Lake Tahoe. I mean, we have huge weather changes coming. So today it's going to be hot and breezy, and then it's going to drop down. If you're heading to Tahoe this weekend, Kim, it's supposed to be hella raining in northern, in like the northern part of Tahoe. So just be careful. This may not be it's just a weird type of, this is the first, I think they were saying the first kind of fire weather watch type of, system that we've had so far this summer, which is good that it's waited so damn long, but it's also going to be dangerous. So we're keeping our eye on that. And of course, we're keeping our eyes on Hurricane Idalia. I realized that it sounded like the Vidalia onion. That's what I was thinking when you were saying Idalia yesterday. It is a very pretty word.
But it sounds like Italia, like you say Italian in Italy. But it's Idalia with a D.
Idalia, yeah.
You know, before you go on with that one, let me just backtrack to what you were saying about Northern California for a second.
Yeah.
I do want people to know that we have a very good chance of public safety power shutoffs today.
Exactly.
We have it in Napa County, Yolo County, some counties in the Sierra. In addition, the red flag fire warnings are up for many of the counties in the Sierra, and I believe Solano County as well. There's two fires raging near the California-Oregon border, and that is sending wildfire smoke now because of the winds into the Bay Area. And so not only do we have all that, but we have a spare the air alert today for the Bay Area because of the smoky skies. So there you go.
It's going to be hazy. It's going to be hot today. So yeah, it's just one of those days where you have to be careful, right? Obviously if you have respiratory issues, stay inside, shut your doors and windows because the smoke's going to be blowing through. But then tomorrow it's going to be clear. And then this new system, it's a brief system, but it's going to move in and could bring some rain to Northern California. So Kim, obviously keeping her eye on that. She'll have more in her news updates. Today is the last day where the San Francisco's farmers market is going to be at the UN Plaza in San Francisco. It's going to be moving across the street. Some farmers are not happy about it. When we get to this topic, I want to open up the comments because they're going to be putting like a skate park there. And then they're going to be moving the food just across the plaza. It's smaller area, so that makes the farmers not as happy. But here's my question. As San Francisco looks to revitalize certain areas of the city, right, to bring more people, make people feel safe, do you think a skate park is the right thing to put right there? Do you think that this is something that is going to be, I don't want to be pessimistic about the whole darn thing, but it does seem we have to be smart about what we put places, what it's going to attract. We just had that, what was it, last month with the bombing down the hill with all the skateboarders. Everyone was all pissed about that. Is this an answer to that? Give kids a place to kind of hang out and recreate and then still have the farmers market semi nearby? I don't know what will bring people back and make them feel safe. And I just want to hear from you guys. Do you like things like this? Do you want more areas for kids specifically to congregate, given the fact that we've seen things like that fight at the mall during Cinema Day on Sunday? And it does seem like in some points, teenagers, young adults are misbehaving. And what do we do about that? It is Wednesday. I'm going to Beyonce. I found my fancy schmancy top that I'm going to wear. So we'll be talking about that. I wasn't able to get to this debate yesterday. But when we talk about it, do you like it when people stand up during the entire concert? And if you choose to sit down at a concert, is that on you? Or should people be mindful of those around them? I'm going to show you that video of the guy that was at the Adele concert and Adele came to his rescue. And when I watched the video, I was like, I could totally understand why people were pissed. But at the same time, like, you paid buku bucks for these tickets. Should you be able to stand and sing, yell, and scream as much as you want to, and everybody else can just F off? So let me know there. China, we'll talk about getting married. China is going to pay young adults to get married before a certain age. And we'll talk about just the idea of getting married. And does it still hold the same kind of, I don't know, goal for young people as it once did, given the fact of everything that's happening right now? I mean, you can be really dystopian about where the world is right now if you choose to be. I mean, between climate change and political discourse and school shootings, you can find, if you look for crap, you'll find crap, right? Do you think that this is kind of, and of course, everything's more expensive. It's hard for young adults to even afford life right now. Do you think that all of that combined is leading people to wait longer to get married? There are consequences to that. And what do some of you in the comments tell your kids or tell yourself about getting married? Should there be a peak time of getting married? And do you think age or where you are in life is more important when you're talking about getting married? In the second part of the show, the SAG, the writer's strike, that's still happening, even though they're kind of debating this interim agreement. Some late night hosts are banding together for a new podcast to kind of help those impacted. And is that cheating? I mean, or is this a smart way of getting through it? It's already happened, or it's starting to happen, and we've teased this before. There is now an airline testing that adults only zone, but it's 16 and older. And so when we get to this, my question is, all the videos I see of people misbehaving, yeah, there's babies crying, but these are adults. These are adults misbehaving. How about there's a section for drunk asses that I don't want on my plane, like just to be over there and hang out with each other. And then when we'll end the show, I'll tell you what I'm watching right now. Very, very cute movie by Adam Sandler. Have you seen the new movie? You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah.
It's on Netflix. I haven't seen it. Have you?
Yeah, it is so freaking cute. And it made me think about this whole idea of a sweet 16, a bat mitzvah, even a quinceañera. I know that's at 15. But, just this idea of this whole celebration and becoming an adult, because there's a part in the movie, and I'm not giving anything away, where Adam Sandler's like, look, when I had my bar mitzvah, we had multiple soup in the basement. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal. Now everything seems to be a big deal. And is that okay? Or are we seeing these bars for these young kids where it's so all so freaking important? And so, yeah, it's and I apologize. I'm sorry if my sound is weird. I think it's my computer. So let me know in the comments if it's getting better or worse, because I was having audio problems to start it. Yeah, Calvin, you're saying my audio is a big garble. Well, let's do some headlines with
The good news is we can actually hear and understand what you're saying, even if it's not your normal sound.
I know, but I don't want it to be garbled. Jeez Louise. I know.
See, that was normal. It goes back and forth. I don't know.
Okay, well, that's, and I mean, you know what, Kim? I love how you always tell me it's StreamYard's fault. Let's just go with that. It's StreamYard's fault. StreamYard is the system we use to broadcast to you guys. So not my fault. So not my computer's fault.
Sometimes StreamYard does weird stuff. Like, it has weird days. I think today's a weird day.
Yeah, I apologize. Hopefully it'll get better as we continue the show. Okay, so Kim's going to do some news. While she does the news, I'm just going to refresh really quickly, but I will be right back to kind of weigh in on Kim's news. And again, when we come back, we will talk about this idea of creating spaces for young adults. San Francisco wants to create this skate park in UN Plaza. Do you think that's a good idea? What kinds of things should we be creating for kids so that they stay out of trouble? Or do places like this just draw trouble? Let me know in the comments. We will discuss that. But first, here's Kim with the news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Good morning, everybody. Hurricane Idalia is now a Category 1 storm. It made landfall as a Category 3 this morning, the strongest hurricane to hit Florida's Big Bend area in 125 years. The National Hurricane Center says sustained winds have decreased now to about 90 miles an hour. That's still pretty fierce. Forecasters warn the storm surge could be worsened by extreme high tides called king tides. They normally occur twice a year in coastal areas, and they usually cause flooding. Even so, more than 270,000 customers are without power right now in Florida. The Biden administration will provide $95 million to improve Hawaii's electrical grid after Maui was devastated by wildfires. Now, the funds will be provided through the bipartisan infrastructure law the president signed into law in 2021. The White House saying the funds will be used to strengthen critical transmission lines and other electrical infrastructure. Officials say utility lines sparked the fires, but the state's largest utility, Hawaiian Electric, said the incompetence of the fire department led to the disaster. The fires earlier this month so far have killed more than 115 people on the island and forced thousands to evacuate. The South Carolina Supreme Court says it will not reconsider a recent decision upholding the state's fetal heartbeat law. Last week, the High Court upheld a measure banning abortion after a fetal heartbeat is detected. And yesterday, the state justices rejected a request by Planned Parenthood and other abortion providers to reconsider that ruling. South Carolina's Attorney General Alan Wilson says he's pleased with the court's decision not to rehear this one. Planned Parenthood says it will continue to fight to restore abortion access for all South Carolinians.
It's going to be interesting to see how this really plays out. You know, as these states start seeing the repercussions of some of these laws, I'm wondering if that's going to be our best fight or pushback against, you know what I mean? Because it's like everyone's like, oh yeah, get rid of Roe v. Wade until they actually see the repercussions of it and the threat to literal living, breathing life, the mother's life and everything like that. So
until your daughter dies, your daughter-in-law dies, because you
like
have
that,
these older white men making these choices, really, is what it mostly is, right?
Yeah.
It seems like to me. And they're not affected until someone they love is affected. And then maybe it's a different situation. No.
Yeah.
Some Bay Area residents may be without power for a time today. PG&E officials, as we were talking about, say smoke from area wildfires is going to join with soaring temperatures around the region to produce some pretty poor air quality as well. The hazy skies mean dangerous air quality for kids and seniors who should try to stay indoors as much as possible today. PG&E officials say they might have to shut off power to various parts of Northern California because of safety concerns. They say only a handful of residents in Napa County might be affected here in the Bay Area region. This is an interesting one, Nikki. An Oakland elementary school, we mentioned it yesterday, they're back open today after being shut down over a racially motivated bomb threat.
Yeah.
Chabot Elementary had to be evacuated yesterday morning after the school learned of the threat. The police were called in, they cleared the scene by noon, but classes had already been canceled for the day. So the principal says the threat came in after the school hosted a play date for BIPOC students, students of color, right? Over the weekend. Both the police and the FBI are now investigating the threat. According to a story on KTVU, the principal thinks perhaps, school officials, I should say, think perhaps it was white parents very upset over being excluded from a school play date that, called in the threats. Okay, the threats are wrong on top of it all, but do you think an elementary school should segregate their play date like that?
I was just going to ask you what you feel about that. Let me know in the comments. This is very interesting. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this. So let me get this straight. So they decided to have a play date for BIPOC students, which is Black, Indigenous, people of color play date.
Yeah.
I would say this.
School sponsored.
Doesn't sit right with me. I think that what they should have done is, I don't have any problem celebrating, our minority students, maybe talking about those sorts of things, making those connections, but the invitation should be open to everybody, right? I mean, why not say let's bring them, make an outreach for them, but then we're going to exclude these other students who may want to get to know these students and families just as much as anybody else.
Because what you're doing is the same thing that people have been upset about, being excluded for centuries now, as you're turning around and doing the same thing. So if you're trying to foster an atmosphere of inclusion at a public elementary school, then you really need to include everyone. You just need to do it. And again, I like what you said about celebrating differences,
Yeah.
maybe highlighting the fact that we need to support people of color because, maybe there's some new people at the school. I don't know. Maybe their history hasn't been taught. And so we need to celebrate making sure that we learn the lessons of history, whatever. But just I don't know. It just feels discriminatory. And part of me thinks, well, welcome white people. Feel the discrimination other people have felt forever. But on the
Yeah.
other hand, if you really are trying to be inclusive, then you can't teach the lesson of being exclusive like that. You can't do
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
No. And the fact that, I would much prefer if they would have kind of couched it in a way that was like, we're really wanting to reach out to our BIPOC families to come to this school wide event. Like make an
Hmm.
effort to reach out to certain families
Right.
and people because we want you there. You know what I mean? But don't be like, we only want you there
Right.
because that's going to be hurt feelings. I would feel awful if I was a white family and I get something from my school that specifically says I can't be there. And now Eric says there wasn't anything that specifically excluded white family, but maybe it was just how it was advertised, right? Hey, BIPOC families, we're having this school event this day
Hmm.
at this time. Okay, well, what if I'm not a BIPOC family? Can I come? They
Right.
should they should say something like, we welcome all families to get to know each other, but we're specifically, and you see that all the time with job postings or certain things. We're really looking for people of color.
Right.
I'm on now all these scholarship things since my daughter is starting high school. I'm on all of these, and they specifically say we're looking for students X, Y, and Z.
Hmm.
If you want to, if you're interested in medicine, we want to see you apply. Not saying that everybody can apply, but if you're really interested in this, we'd like to hear from you. If you come from a single family home, we'd like to hear from you. Not saying nobody else can apply, but we're specifically doing some outreach for you. It's a very thin line of difference, but I think it's an important one. So I don't think it's right, but also obviously you don't target a playground or a school or anything like that with these things because that's awful.
It is awful, but and there's no but that ever makes a bomb threat or racially
No.
motivated threats okay, right? I mean there's nothing. However, I feel like the school kind of maybe threw out the first volley there
Yeah.
by
But
upsetting people. I don't think that's really wise. I don't know. I
yeah, I mean, I understand there's no phrasing, but I also, I'm making a huge assumption because I haven't seen the flyer, I didn't get the email or anything about it. But I feel like if there wasn't any language that specifically excluded, I bet there wasn't any specific language that included. Does that make
Well,
sense?
I don't know. I haven't seen the invite that the school sent
Right.
out, but what I can tell you is whatever happened there with this BIPOC playdate, it spurred a bunch of social media hate messages from
Mm,
a right-wing social media
of
account
course.
which described this event as a quote race segregated playdate social for all students except the white kids.
Yeah.
Then they have the conservative social media account tweeting about it, calling the school racist against white people. The director of Oakland's School District 1 school board says the playdate was intended to foster racial equity and build community for children of color. That Chabot Elementary is a predominantly white school in an affluent neighborhood. Um, the school's equity and inclusion group organized the event, and one of the parents who was the organizers
Mhm.
said they started emailing us threats asking us if we wanted a race war. It was something mentioned of being locked in chains and released back in the jungle where we belong. I mean, this gets really ugly, right? I
That's awful.
I mean, whatever happens, it just doesn't rise to the level of the response, I don't think. You know,
And as someone who, and you can probably agree with me on this, as someone that's involved in my children's schools, especially at a
Mhm.
young age, which this school is, if it's a predominantly white school, I am sure that there's many parent groups where they sit around and they're like, okay, how do we make our school more inclusive? Right. Like,
Mhm.
I'm sure this was a conversation. And so, but I don't understand why inclusion or a conversation about events that are inclusive would mean not having white people there. I would think if I was a white woman going to a predominantly white school and I was debating how do we be more inclusive to our BIPOC families, I would say let's have a huge event with us and them
Right.
so we can all get to know each other. Not let's just have them over there. What kind of understanding, what kind of connections does that ever make if you're going to segregate it that way? That makes no sense whatsoever. No, a bomb threat is completely wrong. I think that, those social media accounts, they stir up these feelings and get people really angry, when I'm sure if people took a deep breath, talk to the organizers about the concerns and how certain things were phrased or not phrased correctly, a bridge could have been made so quickly. But we live in 2023 where everything's freaking debated on stupid social media, and all of a sudden your opinion about a certain issue is tainted because now all of a sudden you're mad because somebody framed it in a certain way. And it's sad. It really, really is sad.
Well, they took it from a level that was, racial tension, and they pushed it up to a level that's now illegal because you don't make a bomb threat, you don't make threats of violence against people, and now the police are involved. So
listen,
there you go.
this is Burgundy Cat writes in, sometimes BIPOC families feel ostracized by whites. Having a BIPOC play date may have more BIPOC families attending. Okay, I get that, but the ostracizing feeling is not going to be reduced by not interacting with the white families in your school. So it would have behooved the school to have white families at this play. And I understand maybe the initial invite, oh, there's going to be a ton of white people, I'm not going, if some BIPOC families feel that way. But they could have been like, let's get to know each other. But I just feel like it was poorly advertised, poorly explained. The description was not right. And it led to people feeling this way. I may be wrong, but I just feel like if you're really trying to be inclusive, why would you want it to just be this specific group of people?
So follow me on this one. There might be a time I could say, all right, if maybe a mother of color wanted to foster relationships between whatever students were in the class, students of color in the class, and wanted to make sure they bonded, knew about each other, knew what was going on. Not that they can't be friends with people of all colors, but, wanted to make sure that they all knew each other in class. And she wanted to have a play date at her house where she only invited a certain number of people for whatever reason she invited them. That's different than a school-sponsored event.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Once you cross that threshold, the school has an obligation to really include everyone. And if I have a hard time believing that they didn't, right? That it seems like Chabot Elementary School in Oakland would have been smarter than that. Even if it was parents organizing, you've been on those parent committees. Everyone raises every issue that could ever be offensive to anyone. You can hardly get anything done because everyone's got an issue with everything. So I would be really surprised if that's the way that went down.
I would too. And I just feel like, again, it goes back to how the event was described to people. It maybe should have been a diversity day for families of all different backgrounds to get to know each other. And we're not just talking about race, religion, socioeconomic, whatever, like different blocks. I don't know, but the way you describe things nowadays can be taken obviously so many different ways. And people, unfortunately, there are some groups of people that look for things to be offended by in order to divide us and to make their own political point or what have you. And yeah, I do think that it starts with Chabot. I think that if the description is the way that it is, that it was specifically towards BIPOC families and somebody reading it could feel excluded, then they should have clarified that. It should have said, all families welcome. We would love to see our BIPOC community come out so we can really get to know each other and that sort of thing. So maybe the description is what really failed here. I don't
At
know.
my kid's school, we have it's called an international cafe. And it's held, I don't know, once a month or so. And it's not for kids, it's for parents. So what you have is an effort to include moms that don't speak the language, that are from a different background, where the parents can learn about each other. Because sometimes I think there's a barrier where people don't feel comfortable volunteering because they don't speak the language, or they don't feel comfortable volunteering because you walk in and there's all these white women there that are cliquey or whatever.
Right.
And so it's an effort to really bring people in, get to know them. when my child was at a predominantly white school, which I think now he's at a school that's more mixed.
Okay.
But the neighborhood school was a pretty white school. And they had an international night at the library where everybody, not everybody, people that wanted to, could sign up to present their countries or their nationality.
Okay, yeah.
What are you? Okay, I'm German, I'm Luxembourgish.
So you make German food maybe or whatever. Yeah.
That's
okay.
right. And so it's so interesting how you look around and you think these are all white people, right? And then people roll out their flags and their ancestry and who they really are.
And that's more interesting.
It's every country you could ever imagine. That looks are very deceiving. And sometimes you're a little more diverse than you think you might be. And kids have a chance to learn about countries and origin. And so that might be a way to really include race in a school or nationality in a school, whatever, diversity.
I mean, yeah. I love that my daughter had a teacher. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. And she always made students like bring food on Fridays. Yeah. Like that was part of their culture or whatever. And finally my daughter's like, I think she just doesn't want to make lunch. I think she's bringing her food.
You got it. Like, that's right.
Kind of genius if you ask me. But yeah, I think that because again, even the word white is stupid. It really is. It doesn't encompass any. I'm white. What the hell does that mean? Right? I mean, even black, even though obviously, they've adopted that, but it is all encompassing of so many different places in the world. And so when we have multicultural days, when we have these international days, it should be celebrated, and you need to include white people, just like you were saying, because they're not white. That's not a thing. There's no white land, right? It's where is your family from? What kind of food does your family like to eat? Even if it's not German, you might be German, but your family doesn't like to make German food. What do you make in your home with the melting pot that's happened over generations? What do you love? What do you like to eat? Every time I would do something like that, the easiest thing for me is my Italian side, so I would make like spaghetti sauce and stuff like that, right? But there's all kinds of Puerto Rican food that I'd love to make. It just way more time intensive to bring in, but it's those sorts of things that really open the doors.
You're spicy again, I'm telling you.
Exactly. But I'm telling you, the way to people's hearts through their stomachs. So maybe just more international food days, and it could be rainbows and butterflies pretty soon. We'll see. But yeah.
I knew that that would be an interesting conversation with you, and when I saw it last night, I couldn't wait to tell you about it. Stargazers may get to see a rare full super blue moon this evening. Ooh. It is the second of two. It's not blue, so just don't get that out of your head.
Hey, that's false advertising.
I know. Off the bat, you're like, what?
I was like, a blue moon, yay!
So the second of two August supermoons is called the blue moon. So you have to have 2 full moons in 1 month. So this is the second one.
Interesting. Okay.
So that's why it's called a full super blue moon. This one will be the closest full moon to the Earth's surface at just over 222,000 miles away. That according to the website EarthSky. The moon should rise just before 8 p.m. Eastern, with the blue moon at its brightest around 9:30 p.m. Eastern, that is. So we're going to get a show tonight. It's worth stepping outside to take a look at that moon.
I'll be at Levi Stadium glowing in my silver top, so I'll look up.
Oh, the moon is going to be amazing for Beyonce,
I'll try to take a pic. I'll try to use some of Jefferson Graham's tips and tricks to take a picture.
Get it from all angles, Nikki. Get it from all angles.
Taking pictures. There you go.
People are going to be like, lady, stay in your seat. Lastly, Dolly Parton, who I love, says
Dolly.
She had to decline an invitation to have tea with Kate Middleton on a recent London trip. Speaking with the BBC Radio 2, Parton talked about how little time she had on her trip to sightsee. That's not sightseeing, that's tea with the future queen. But okay, Dolly. The country music star said, I even got invited to have tea with Kate, and I felt so bad, I couldn't even go.
Wow.
Lamenting she had events set up to promote her upcoming album Rockstar, she acknowledged the Princess of Wales invitation was very sweet and nice, but she ultimately had to decline, joking Kate wouldn't be promoting her rock album.
Can you imagine being the next queen of England and Dolly Parton's like, yeah, no.
I'm so sorry. I'm just so busy on this tour, honey. I can't come. No.
It's Dolly, dude. She's a bigger celebrity than Kate.
She get that I'm going to be the queen of England because
I know. Did you tell her
Dolly?
people who I am? I'm not, Kate Hudson. I'm not Kate. I'm not any of the other Kates. I'm Kate Middleton. Next in line. No, doesn't carry any weight. We don't do kings and queens here, Kate.
I
Sorry,
love
America.
Dolly. Dolly's like, yeah, all business. Okay, look, I'm here to promote an album. I have got people to do, things to see.
A busy lady. I'm not.
That's it.
I don't have time for tea. Come on now. No time for tea.
What kind of play date is that?
Exactly.
This report is sponsored by you. We do rely on you, the show crowdfunded. If you could check us out at thenikkimedoroshow.com, thenikkimedoroshow.com. That is where you shall find the Patreon link and the PayPal link. And there is no invitation to tea, but there's a lot of other great stuff there to look at. I'm Kim McAllister, and this is The Nikki Medoro Show.
Thank you, Kim. Yeah, we didn't get any of the business out of the way. That is how you become a Medorable right there, thenikkimedoroshow.com. One time a month. Donation to the show keeps us on the air, so please do that. A big thank you, and sorry you have to go back into the office, but Harry was here. He gave us our $5. I know. Happy Hump Day, great show. Off to the office. Then he was out.
He's in and he's gone.
Sorry, Harry. I feel like Harry really wants to be with us live, but he has to go back into the office.
Yeah.
Which
I don't think it would be a good idea to email Harry's boss en masse, because it would show his boss that like, what kind of show are you watching while you're supposed to be working?
Harry, let us know what you do for a living. Maybe we can figure out a way to get you out of the office once in a while. I don't know. But yeah. So be like Harry. Our super chat is live. You can look for the $sign under the chat box, and you can throw us a super sticker, a super chat, a super thanks, a super comment. We'll read it live on air if you donate live during the show. So do that. The free thing to do, of course, is click the thumbs up button. And again, thenikkimedoroshow.com is where you get past episodes to share with your friends and family. Make sure you are subscribed and you hit that bell. PayPal, our email, thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. And then, of course, the merch shop at thenikkimedoroshop.com. Okay.
You know what day it is today?
It is Wednesday, August 30th.
Also National Marshmallow Day.
Ooh, do you like marshmallows? Are you a marshmallow eater?
I like them in my hot chocolate.
Really? I'm not much of a...
If you give me a chocolate Easter bunny that has marshmallow filling,
ooh,
I'm good with that.
Are you a Peeps eater?
A what?
A
peep. Oh, not so much anymore, but I have had my peep days. Yes. I do enjoy a good peep.
Every time I have a peep, I remember, oh, that's right. I don't like these. It's too sweet, too sugary. Yeah. I do like an occasional marshmallow. I'll be honest. The only time I really eat marshmallows is camping. I mean, I'll have one s'more.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe I'll have one more marshmallow by itself, not out, because the s'more is so freaking sweet. So do you like your marshmallow charred black or lightly tan? How dark do you like your marshmallow when you make a s'more? Or do you not even like it that dark?
I don't have the patience for a light brown roast.
You just stick it right in the fire, flame it up and eat it?
I stick it in the fire, set that biatch on fire, and then I blow it out, and then it's hot and gooey.
It's the universal sound of, oh, that's too hot to eat.
And my s'more is made within 30 seconds, and everyone else is like, oh, lift it up higher. And I'm like, yeah, no.
No, we're not
waiting.
Stick it in and
let it ride.
We're not waiting for all that. No, I like it. I kind of do the same thing. So my first marshmallow, I'll have the patience, right? Usually because the kids are all in the way anyway, so I'm just kind of like watching them do it. But I do like the burnt part of the marshmallow, like that crispy black part, and then stick it. Yeah. And I'm totally the food's too hot to stick in your mouth, but I stick it in my mouth anyway kind of person. So I'm constantly like James, my husband's always like, yeah, it's too hot, Nikki, so go ahead, start eating it. I like it.
They used to have specialty marshmallows at Whole Foods where like they were cut into squares like treats. That's a little too much marshmallow for me. I like marshmallow in things, but not necessarily as a standalone item.
Yeah, I wouldn't just eat freaking marshmallows. I'm not going to sit there and just keep popping them in my mouth. I know some people love them. I used to love them a lot as well. Oh, look, Sam. We love you, Sam. Your number one fan in San Francisco. $10 donation to our super chat. You rock,
best.
Sam.
I love that guy.
Thank you. Oh, Eric hates s'mores.
What?
Like all the separate parts, but I do not like them all smushed together. Wow.
Eric.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. I mean, one s'more while you're camping, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Dora says you need to try the marshmallows with chocolate, can eat by themselves. There was, I think I was trying to find it for our friend John Rothman when we were at KGO. They make, and they're made for s'mores. So they had chocolate inside the marshmallow. So when you toasted it, it would melt and then you didn't have to. But my trick what I would do is I would take my marshmallow and I'd open it up and then I'd put like a little piece of chocolate on the inside and then I'd smush the marshmallow back together over the stick. And then I'd just, so it wasn't all messy because the chocolate never gets melted enough. And I don't want a hard piece of chocolate. I want it to be all melty and gooey. Ooh, with Reese's or a Rolo. Have a Rolo inside the marshmallow and melt it that way. Yeah.
Wow.
Happy National Marshmallow Day. There you go.
I do like marshmallow and ice cream, like a Rocky Road. I can get behind it.
I haven't had Rocky Road in forever.
It's delicious.
Don't
think about what's in a marshmallow, though. Don't think about what's in that.
It's not pink slime, is it?
No, it's hoof.
Oh, I didn't know hoof was delicious.
Apparently, hoof is good. It's animal hooves, right?
Look, I told you this time and again, Kim.
Same thing that's in gelatin.
That stuff doesn't gross me out. I go, oh, obviously, I didn't know this about myself, but I like hoof.
I'm a fan of the hoof. Bring me all the hooves.
I mean, I'm just being honest. If I find it delicious, then obviously I like it. Diabetes specialty.
I know, I saw it.
Oh, Jim says Rocky Road's my favorite. My favorite. I like a butter pecan. We've had this. I like a Jamocha almond fudge, mint chocolate chip, cookies and cream. I've been eating a lot of cookies and cream because that's my son's favorite, but I really don't eat that much ice cream. Ooh, banana peanut butter graham cracker sandwiches. Ooh,
that does sound
how'd we
good.
get all that? Has no marshmallow in it. I don't know how we got on this grim hoof. Look,
my bad.
My bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you have a marshmallow or you have gelatin, you obviously like hoof. I don't know how to break this to you more gently, but if you eat it, you eat it. And that's just the way it is, people. It's just, I know our friend Mud, so she's vegan and she educated me on all kinds of things that had animal byproducts. And I go, oh, I didn't even realize that it did.
Jim says that gelatin can either be hoof or seaweed. So maybe
seaweed.
There's the vegan seaweed marshmallow we need to try. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry. I just wanted to let you know it was Marshmallow Day. I digress.
Brian says Safeway has marshmallow without gelatin and they're kosher.
Okay.
There you go, people.
Right on.
I love our crew over here, educating us all over the place. Okay, let's talk about kids and what they have to do around town. Now, I'm just going to play you this video real quickly just to remind you of the fight that happened in Emeryville at the mall during Cinema Day. And a lot of people are saying the reason things like this happen is kids have nowhere to go to hang out and do something without getting into trouble. So here, let's just look at it again because this is exciting.
And a fight. One of many that police say broke out.
I don't believe kids were gathering to fight. I think kids were gathering to get a lot of energy out. I think there's a lot of pent up rage, anger, frustration, and anxiety that kind of creates this powder keg that is easy to ignite.
Selena Wilson, CEO of East Oakland Youth Development Center, speaking not only to what happened here in Emeryville, but to what unfolded at or near movie theaters across the country Sunday. This map shows at least 13 similar incidents, including this one in Illinois. At least one police department warned their community of possible problems after seeing social media posts about fighting. Other departments caught in traffic trying to respond to fights.
So, I wanted to replay that because the kids are... We've said this before, Kim. The kids may not be okay, right? I mean, they went through a pandemic. Some of them lost a lot of milestone moments, right? That may still be having an impact on them. Just the mental health of this nation, having to go to school and deal with lockdown drills and all sorts of things. And then all the fighting that's going on. Kids need healthy outlets. Now, some parents are like, oh, good, I put my kids in all kinds of sports, all kinds of extracurricular activities. So idle hands aren't the double plaything, right? Other parents can't do that, or their kids aren't interested in sports or what have you. But what do we do with the children? How do we occupy their time? So on September 3rd, the Heart of the City Farmers Market is going to be relocated in San Francisco. Currently, today's the last day. It's at the United Nations Plaza. And it's going to move to Fulton Plaza, which apparently is just right across the street. But a lot of people aren't happy. They say it's inconvenient for farmers and customers. But the Recs and Parks Department says changing the space will discourage drug dealing and drug use in the plaza. They want to install at the UN Plaza a skate park, fitness equipment, ping pong tables, and other family friendly installments. Do you think this is going to work? Do you think this is what we need to start reimagining these spaces for? Now, the farmers market's been there forever, it seems like. But it's just a farmer's market. And so it's obviously drawing, I guess, a certain element, homelessness, drug dealing, like I just mentioned. Is a skate park going to be any better? Are ping pong tables going to be any better? Is there something inherent in these sorts of things that are just going to discourage drug dealing and attracting homelessness to this area? I mean, how optimistic are you about this?
I'm not very optimistic at all. As a matter of fact, as a mom, you can move it across the street and build a couple of things to jump off of. But I'm not sending my kid to a notorious open air drug den area. I mean, I don't care. I'm not going to say, take your skateboard and go have fun. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It takes more than just we're turning it into this in order for it to become that, right? So those people that gathered there to trade, drugs, sell drugs, do drugs, what have you, they're not just going to go away because you build a little skate park area.
Yeah.
And then are more kids around that type of stuff? That's not where you want your teenager to go. And also, there's a skate park in my town. And granted, it's not San Francisco, but it's notorious for being not monitored by parents. And there's a bunch of kids that are bullies and mean kids there. And so watch where you send your child and where you're allowing them to go. I think it really has to do, not with kids being bored and angry about the pandemic, because we know that's true, but with how they're supervised, and what's happening after school. We hear the stories about, roaming bands of teens getting kicked out of Target because they're going crazy in the stores.
Why are they by themselves? You should trust your kid. Like my daughter. So, and this is kind of the same thing, but my daughter and her friends like to do like grubby dinner where they all go out to dinner. And it was funny because my daughter was like, we want to find a place that has outdoor seating. And I go, why is that so important? She's like, because we like to talk and there's like 8 of us that go and we just want to kind of be outside, which I think is smart, right? Because if you're inside restaurants sometimes. But she said the last time that they went, they were treated badly because she said the server was totally rude to them. And I looked at her as a former server myself. I go, it's because you're a bunch of 14-year-olds walking in and they don't think they're going to get a tip, right? They think that you're just, you're being annoying. You're probably being loud, not badly, but if you see a group of kids together, they're naturally going to be louder, right? And so it's like, you need to be mindful. And she's like, Mom, we are so nice and we tip really well because I taught them, how to take 20% or whatever. And I go, okay, but I'm just saying, like the reputation teens have nowadays isn't good. I'm sorry. You have all of these social media videos of when you have a large group of teens together, they're misbehaving, they're cussing, they're yelling, they're screaming, they're fighting, they're doing all of these things. And so, of course, if you see 6 to 8 teenagers sit down at your section in a restaurant,
you roll your eyes. You're
bitch,
like,
right?
What
like,
now?
What am I going to deal with? They're going to want a million pizzas and they're going to tip me 50 cents. And it's a terrible stereotype to make, but it's totally, I think, justified given what we keep seeing. Now, in my neck of the woods in San Jose, I'm just going to say this. We have the most amazing skate park ever. Lake Cunningham, which is where Raging Waters is, it's right next door. They have one of the largest, if not one of the largest of the area skate park. It is amazing. It is so cool. It's really affordable and kids can hang out there all day. We used to go a lot more before I busted my knee and had to have my second knee surgery because I was there and I'm stupid and old and went skateboarding. But yeah, I mean, it's so much fun there. But again, there's parents watching, you know what I mean? Like there's people there and not all parents.
It's interesting you say it's affordable, which means there's somebody managing the place, running the place. You have to pay to get in. This is an open skate park.
Right.
It's free. It's just there.
Maybe
you
that's
just
the
go.
difference. Yeah.
Kids ride their bike in there and it's a little bit rougher.
Yeah. If you've never been though, I highly recommend it. It's a bike park, BMX park and skate park as well. It's awesome.
So, but back to what you're saying about, just deciding to move up, we're out with the drug den, in with the skate park. I don't
Mhm.
think it's a snap your fingers and make it happen kind of thing.
Well, and they're moving and some people are saying, where the UN Plaza is, it's a food desert for a lot of people because it's near the Tenderloin. And so they were able to
Yeah.
get these fruits and vegetables. But again, I don't know this area too well, like the Plaza area, but I feel like across the street ain't too far. You can continue to walk to get your fruits and vegetables. But I do like the idea of trying to come up. And I know that you were talking about it being free, but sometimes it has to be free
Yeah.
to be inclusive, right? Kids are poor. They just need a place to go where they don't need $5 or whatever amount to be able to enjoy it. Because then it's just going to leave probably some of the kids that need it the most from being able to take advantage of something like that. But we need to figure it out. I really have a problem with this idea of taking away healthy opportunities for kids. We talked about the mall and the mall fight. Well, the mall used to be a place where kids could hang out if they were on their best behavior and interact, be away from their parents, but be responsible. It's a tough call. It really is, because I don't think that all kids are bad. I think they get caught up. They might just be watching, a fight going on, but they're not taking place in it. Jim says, I wish in between a community center, the library, the police, and a fire station is the park racetrack that encircles a skate park, playground, and basketball. Safe, and the cops play with kids. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the design will be very, very important. And there needs to be people paid to watch over the place. Even if it's just one police officer, right? Just standing there, making sure that somebody's there and somebody's watching. Although the minute I'm started to say that, I was thinking of that story. What was that, last week, where in front of the police officer, the police union's house or whatever, cars were getting broken into. I don't know if necessarily everybody gives a crap that there's cops around, but if there's teenagers, maybe they will. And so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it'll work. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Something we need to create more safe spaces for these kids. We really, really do. All right, let's switch gears just a bit. Oh, we have about 10 minutes. I wanted to touch on this story, and I was pausing because you guys know I love my Bachelor, my Bachelorette, right? It's a crap TV show. Don't get on me. So a couple of days ago, there was this story that this guy that was on one of the past Bachelorettes had died unexpectedly, which meant, he probably took his own life, sadly, right?
Oh.
He'd been very forthcoming about his mental health and his depression and things like that. And he had passed away. Well, yesterday I opened up my news, right? And he's alive, which is great news.
Yeah.
Okay. Apparently, he says somebody had hacked into his social media accounts. And because he'd been so forthcoming about his mental health struggles and kind of being, at the forefront of this, that they had made some sort of sick joke, because his family had put out the message that he had passed away. So that's what was the hack, was that his family was putting out this message. His name is Josh Sider. Okay. And I was a little torn on this. So I'm thinking to myself, wow, one, that's really an awful thing to do to somebody, right? Like, you should not be making fun of somebody's mental health issue. Absolutely. Right. And then sadly, the next thought was it really somebody else, or was it him that had done this? And so I was just kind of following it around. I was looking at his Instagram page. And sadly, a lot of people were kind of thinking the same thing. So I'm going to show you this website. This is TMZ. Now, this is kind of the question of why I wanted to talk about this. Now, there's no need to pile on this guy. And I'm not, like, whether it was a mental health issue and he did it or somebody else did it to make fun of him, that's not the point. But what has reality, and I'm putting that in quotes, reality TV done to people? And do you think celebrities or these kind of public figures talking about mental health helps? Right? I'll even think of someone like Britney Spears. So she's constantly on Instagram. I don't know. Do you follow Britney Spears on Instagram?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, she's been forthcoming with her mental health struggles.
Yeah.
And at the same time, she has a social media account. And most of the time, if anybody follows her, you know exactly what I'm about to say. Most of her posts are her dancing in a circle in her underwear. Okay. That's pretty much
I have
90%
I have
of what she
seen those
posts.
publicized, and it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Almost every day. I'm not even kidding. Almost every day or every post, almost every post, Britney Spears is in her underwear or a bikini or something, twirling and twirling and twirling and dancing and dancing and dancing. Okay. Now, on one hand, that's what she wants to do. Freaking, that's what you want to do. On the other hand, because she's been so forthcoming with her mental health struggles, people are like, she needs help. I was actually just talking to one of my best friends about this the other day. She's like, she's in that case. She needs to stop doing all of this stuff. And I say, she's a 40-something-year-old woman. If she wants to dance around and spin around in her damn underwear on Instagram, spin around in your friggin' underwear. Other celebrities that either don't have mental health issues or aren't, public with them, post all kinds of nonsense. What, I need to see another video or a picture of Kim Kardashian in a bikini or fill in the blanks, doing some sort of thirst trap. Nobody's saying anything about them. But all of a sudden, a celebrity dressed scantily, let's say, and then posting over and over on social media, all of a sudden that's not okay. And I don't really feel like it's them that has the problem. I feel like it's us, right? Like, what is our fascination with these people so much so that even if they may be having mental health struggles, we continue to pile on them, knowing that it probably doesn't help. So here's this guy, again, going back to Josh Sider. I really feel for this guy. So here he is. He's not a bad looking dude. Apparently he's pansexual. He came forward with that following. So there he is. He's not bad looking, right?
He's a cute guy. Yeah.
He's kind of a cute guy. He was on Bachelorette. He was on Bachelorette. And here he is. Okay, so let me show you. This is his video where he's explaining that, thankfully, he's not dead. Oh, it's probably going to have an ad. So hold on. Let's just move that while that plays. But this was the post that his family had made. They said it's with the hack had made. Extremely heavy heart. We share the tragic news of Joshua's unexpected passing. As all who knew him can attest, Joshua was an incredibly bright light. And then it went on to say, we would kindly ask for privacy as we grieve. Okay. Here he is again explaining that he's not dead.
Hey guys, as you can see, I am alive and well. My account was hacked. For the last 24 hours, I've been trying desperately to get into it. Somebody was playing a cruel joke and mocking my mental illness and the struggles I've gone through with depression and suicide attempts. And I'm sorry for all the pain they caused when they made that post. I just got back into my account. I am going to do all I can with my team to try to identify who is behind this. But again, I apologize for the confusion, and I will update you guys as more facts come in. Thank you.
Okay, so that was his explanation. Now, some people are saying he's just doing this for attention. But so what if he is? Like, that's my thing. It's like, okay, if he has mental health issues, even if he did make up this story, does piling on help? Right? Does criticizing him, making fun of him, does that help? What? I don't understand where we are as a society where if your mental psyche is strained enough that you want to fake your own death, that our response to that is to make fun of you, we have failed as a society. I mean, or am I wrong here? Am I giving him way too much leeway? Because who's hurt by this? I mean, I guess his family and his friends who were heartbroken for 24 hours. But if he seriously made it up, doesn't that just prove that he has issues he really needs to work through?
But what if it wasn't a mental health thing? What if it was like the actor who allegedly faked his own getting beat up in a racial situation? Remember that guy?
Right. Yes.
And so was he
Jesse
doing...
Smollett.
Yes. Was he doing it for, to kickstart a career? Was he doing it for attention so that you could get more social media clicks and so your career is resurrected? If that's the case, then maybe some ridicule is justified. I don't know.
But is it though? I mean, I kind of feel like, what is ridiculing? Okay, so here's the other thing. I'm going to show you another picture.
Is he needing attention so much? And again, we don't know if this was him or not.
Right.
But if it was, Is he needing attention so much that he's willing to do this type of thing just so he gets some more clicks, and now everyone's
Right.
showing his video and then talking about his name again, and now he's back in the news? Like, is that, we all have people we know on social media that like, I could think of this one woman I know. Every picture she posts on Facebook, it's her belly button and her boobs hanging out. I'm like, lady, your mom and my kids.
I know more about your boobs and belly button than
Why do I know where the freckle on your boob is all the time? I don't need to know. It's clear that people want attention for whatever reason.
But that's what social media is.
Insecurity,
I mean,
or whatever. I guess so. I don't know. I post pictures because I like when they come up the next year and they remind me of all the things.
Scrapbook.
So I'm not looking for attention. Half the time I'll post a birthday picture and, everyone's like, oh, happy birthday to your child. I'm not looking for that. That's nice, but no, thank you. I mean, you don't know my kid. You probably don't care it's their birthday or whatever. I just like to have that, and then it's like all their birthday pictures pop up on that one day. And it's a sweet memory. That's why I'm there, and to make connections with people, not to post pictures of my boob hanging out. Ooh, aren't I sexy? Ooh la la.
But that's what it is all the time. And especially these reality TV stars where many of them, and I know it's a crap television show and some of you don't watch it, but a lot of them, the whole thing with, like, let's say The Bachelor or Bachelorette, right?
Yeah.
A lot of these people go on the show because they want to then all of a sudden be like an influencer. It's a career move to be on these shows, because all of a sudden you get endorsements, you do commercials, then you can go on other shows. It pays really well in some cases. So for instance, this Josh Sider dude, so he talks about his mental health, but I'm going to show you this picture. Now, again, I'm not piling on, but it begs the question of kind of what you were talking about, Kim. An important topic, but why are you doing it dressed like this? So he's standing in his tidy whities. He says, I'm Josh Sider. I'm a suicide attempt survivor. I battle OCD, bipolar depression, and GAD, but I refuse to give up. What did you survive? Now, great question. Great conversation. I don't understand what the tidy whities why the tidy whities have to be there.
You could argue
You
that
attention.
he's saying, if I can look like this person, right? You think you have to achieve perfection. You think if someone who looks like me can be depressed and sad, then, it really affects everyone. You could make that argument, but I think it's really an excuse to post a picture of yourself looking good in your undies.
Yeah. I mean, he does look good. He's got a good butt. But yeah, it's, and I understand maybe he like does workout videos or something. I have no idea. I mean, maybe his body is part of his brand.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But it made me sad. It really did. It made me sad that because of the society we live in with social media and everything, and we're all keyboard warriors, right? We say whatever. We would never say half the stuff we say to people face to face. But all of a sudden, this guy who's been very open about his mental health issues either is hacked or creates this fake story about his death. And if you look at his Instagram pages, it's awful what some people say. So just stop it. Like, even if he did fake it, okay, you don't know him. It's not hurting you. Yeah, he needs to get help. That is true. Wait till I get my hands on you. That's pretty funny. Louis says, who are these asshat internet influencers influencing other asshats? So glad I do no social media. The more I'm on social media, the more I want to be like you, Louise.
Yeah.
Franco says, screaming, look at me. I need attention. But maybe he does. I mean, he does have, bipolar. Like, he has mental health issues that he's been honest about. So if he's doing this thing, and that's the whole thing, people piling on Britney Spears, what the hell are you doing? Like, leave her alone, as the famous guy
Do you
said.
think there's a difference between being honest about it and saying, I've suffered through this and I just want everyone to know they're not alone, versus being exploitative about it? Exploiting your own mental illness for attention. That there's a line there that you can cross. And you can say, well, I just want to bring awareness. No, maybe you don't. Maybe you're using it for something else. I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't always feel so altruistic. I'm just saying.
But maybe the desire to post it on social media and do these things is part of, You know what I'm saying? The mental illness.
Yeah.
The illness. Like, okay, because I'm maybe I'm manic right now, whatever the person's going through. I need attention. I need this. Maybe it's all part and parcel of the same freaking thing. And so if it is, and I'm not saying in every case it is, but if it is, it's kind of cruel to pile on the damn person to do it. That's all I'm saying. And so, Josh, I'm glad you're not dead. I hope you didn't fake your own death, but if you did, get help, because that's not right. It's just not right. Okay, let's do a few more headlines. When we come back, we're going to debate concert etiquette. I'm going to Beyonce tonight. I will be taking photos. Keep it tuned to my social media as I post pictures of me and I'm really curious to see how I'm going to look with my husband, who has 0 silver to wear. He's probably going to wear one of his bicycle t-shirts. I am going to be shining in my flashy little top. So it's going to be fun. I think, I'm almost positive. I think Heather Hammond, our Heather up at KGO, who I adore, I think she's the one that gave me the top that I'm going to wear. I'm almost positive that she did. She would always just bring in random clothes.
Then it has to be cute.
She does. She's the cutest dresser ever. Yeah, oh my God. Yeah. She is so cute. So, beautiful woman. But yeah, so I think she brought me this top. So I'm gonna have to send her a picture and thank her for it, because it's going to come completely handy. But the question I have for you guys while Kim is doing the news is this. If you're at a concert that you paid, I don't know, hundreds of dollars for the tickets, and you want to sit down, but the person in front of you is standing during the entire concert, who's ruining it for the other person, right? Like, if you tell that person to sit down, are you ruining the concert for them, or are they ruining it for you? Or is it no holds barred? Like, you do what you want to do, but you can't control what anybody else does. So yeah, let me know in the comments, because Adele called out somebody that was really, really excited to be at her concert in support of that person. But then I was like, are there certain concerts where you should just sit the hell down and just enjoy it in your seat so everybody around you can enjoy it? Let me know in the comments.
Symphony?
Well, I'll tell you. I'll tease this. I sat down for most of the Elton John concert. And why did I sit down? Because everyone around me was sitting down. I mean, I was moving. I was dancing in my seat. I was having a blast. Yeah. I wasn't standing, though. And I did that because I knew other people around me were sitting. Also, the age of the crowd was a little bit older. Not everybody. There was a ton of young people. Don't get me wrong. But I kind of felt like, okay, if everyone's sitting around me, I can sit and still get down. But I sure as hell am not going to be sitting tonight at the Beyonce concert.
Yeah.
I mean, not the whole time. So let me know what should people be mindful of? Or you paid the ticket, you could do whatever the hell you want. Let me know in the comments. Also, click that thumbs up button to show your support of the show. And here, of course, is Kim with the headlines.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Let's get right to Hurricane Idalia, now downgraded to a Category 1 storm, made landfall as a Category 3 this morning, the strongest hurricane to hit Florida's Big Bend area in 125 years. That's where the Panhandle turns into the peninsula. They call it the Big Bend. The National Hurricane Center says sustained winds have decreased to about 90 miles an hour. Oh, no big deal. Nothing to see here. Idalia is now crossing into Georgia. FEMA's director is warning millions of people are still in the path of the storm along the East Coast, and they need to take it very seriously. And she's warning plenty of residents in Georgia and South Carolina are in the areas that are prone to catastrophic inland flooding. There is a sentencing hearing, or I should say there was a sentencing hearing for 2 former leaders of the Proud Boys, and it is now being delayed. The Justice Department said the proceeding scheduled for today was canceled due to an emergency. No further information provided. Federal prosecutors want Enrique Tarrio to be sentenced to 33 years in prison and his co-defendant, Ethan Nordine, to be sentenced to 27 years for trying to stop Congress from certifying President Joe Biden's victory in the 2020 presidential election.
And we're still debating whether or not Trump should face charges for this. This is just
telling
insane. Yeah.
Crazy. Delta Airlines flight. Some passengers aboard had to go to the hospital after severe turbulence in the air. The plane was headed from Milan to Atlanta when 11 people were injured aboard, including crew members and passengers. The details about the extent of those injuries haven't been revealed just yet. There is a San Mateo County lawmaker who would like to crack down on organized retail theft in the Bay Area. County Supervisor David Canepa says such retail thefts are becoming a way too commonplace in our region and around the country. He says companies across the country reported more than $90 billion in loss from retail theft. Supervisor Canepa wants a crackdown locally to stop such incidents. He's calling on lawmakers to lower the dollar figure on when shoplifting becomes a felony.
Yeah.
Currently, anyone who steals less than $950 worth of merchandise only faces misdemeanor charges with fewer consequences. He's also organizing a task force on organized retail theft to come up with ideas as well.
It's not just that though. And I every time we talk about this and like the threshold of where it becomes a felony, other states' thresholds are higher. So you have to steal even more to break through that threshold. I think Texas is higher than we are. It's a mentality. It's police. It's having enough police staff. We have to find. We need, again, and I'm a total liberal, but even if you lower it, you need to honestly understand that it's a mentality and it's organized, right? You need to find these people, punish them, like put them in jail, don't let them out. Like, because it's organized crime, there should be a stiffer penalty for that.
Yeah, I think so too. They have to do something. Otherwise, there's not going to be any more brick and mortar businesses left.
Yeah.
One of Sonoma Valley's latest grape harvest seasons in decades is underway now at some vineyards. Here's a picture of the harvest. That's nice.
Ooh,
Pretty.
Nice.
Gloria Ferrer Caves and Vineyards began its harvest Tuesday. Officials say August 29th, the start, was the latest to the harvest at the vineyards there in 41 years of operation. The harvest started about 3 weeks later than last year. It's because the far above average rainfall from this last winter and spring makes for colder, damper growing seasons than normal. This year is the 199th official harvest in Sonoma County. So a harvest is underway.
There you go.
Lastly, there is a new study that shows the majority of dog owners are skeptical of vaccines, including the rabies shot. This isn't good. You got to get your dog the rabies shot, right?
Yeah.
Published in the medical journal Vaccine, the study found 53% of dog owners have concerns about the safety or necessity of vaccines for our four-legged friends. More than a third believe vaccines could cause cognitive issues in dogs, leading to autism, a theory that no scientific evidence is based upon.
How do you know if your dog has autism?
I wouldn't even know. Like, what does it not look you in the eye? Come on. The study says hesitancy to vaccinate dogs is an issue because without them, disease could spread through both canine and human population. I'm telling you.
Get your dogs vaccinated, morons. Like, stop. Take care of your dogs. Jesus.
I love that. That should be the public service announcement, right? They're spending all this money. All they need is Nikki saying, get your dog vaccinated, you moron.
Pretty much. Like, if you love your dog, which so many people do. And I mean, I do everything for my nuggy buggy boy. Are you kidding me right now? Yeah. No, don't be stupid.
This report crowdfunded, which means we do rely on you. You can find us at thenikkimedoroshow.com, thenikkimedoroshow.com. The Patreon and PayPal link open for business, as well as the super stickers here on the Nikki Medoro Show. And I have to thank Luis. I believe I saw one from Luis just pop through. Buy yourself a t-shirt at Queen Bee. Metallica equals stand and go nuts versus Andrea Bocelli, sit quietly and clap appropriately. Yeah, it depends on what concert you're at. Thank you for the $50.
Oh my God, now I'm gonna have to go get. Wow. I wasn't gonna buy merch. I really wasn't. I will go buy something now, and I will wear it tomorrow on the show, possibly with my sunglasses. I'm telling you, Kim, just warning you right now, I might be hungover tomorrow. My husband has tomorrow off work. Oh, I don't care. My hair might be a little messy. I might have to wear sunglasses. It might be a bit too bright, but I will tell you all about the concert, and I'll take some videos. I'll show those all tomorrow. Thank you, Louise. And that's our super chat that he donated to. Yeah. It's live. You'd look for the $ under the chat box, and we really appreciate each and every one of you. I love my adorables. You guys are great. Okay, but let's debate this. Okay, so Louise says Metallica, rock out. Oh my God. I don't know. Do you like, kind of rock metal?
I'm ambivalent. I don't hate it. I don't love it.
There's this concert down in Indio
Yeah.
that I really want. I mean, if it wasn't in Indio, I would be there. Guns N' Roses, Metallica, so many rock bands are going to be there. I would love. I got whiplash at the night before concert before the Super Bowl when Metallica played at Levi's when we had the Super Bowl. My husband and I went to the concert and I was headbanging so much I couldn't turn my head. Rocking out, like had the best freaking time. Like when I go to a concert, I am going, right? Like I am here. And especially as I've gotten older, because when I go to concerts, I always in the back of my mind think, it's kind of morbid. Like when this person dies, I could say that I saw them live, right? Like that's, and I want to experience their music. I want to be there. I don't want to just sit there and be like, this is nice. But Luis makes a good point. If I go see Andrea Bocelli or Yo-Yo Ma,
Right.
I'm like, yeah, like I'm not doing that, right? I mean, you sit down, you shut the hell up, and you
It's
listen
like
to
the
music.
opera, the symphony. There's a
Right.
protocol to these things. You're not standing in the aisles. No.
Right. But I'm going to ask you this. Adele, I would argue, is kind of this weird kind of, because she has some, more upbeat songs, but at the
Right.
same time, she has a lot of slow songs. So here's this report from CNN who kind of, they did a great package of this whole situation with this Adele fan. All I could say is he loves her. He
Yeah.
obviously is a huge, huge fan, but doesn't go into the territory of freaking annoying and ruining everybody else's time. Who's wrong here? Because Adele definitely chose a side. Here's the report.
How much does this fan love Adele? So much that he seemed to be in an Adele-induced trance, recording himself with a selfie stick at one of the singer's recent Las Vegas concerts. Just behind you, everybody that's left. Everybody. He was gently scolded for standing, blocking the view of others, and then 2 seconds after she left,
Oh God.
Adele noticed from the stage as security quietly tried to get him to tone it down. Adele stopped the show mid-song.
What is going on with that young fan there? He's been bothered so much since I came on for standing up. What's going on with him? Yes, you with a stick in your hand.
Rescued by his goddess.
You can stand up now, darling. It's not tempo. Stand up.
Even security seemed insecure when admonished by Adele.
What are you doing? Why are you all bothering him? Can you leave him alone, please?
You don't have to sit down. You're fine. Stay right here.
But some online commenters were annoyed. Him and Adele thought it was fine, but I'm sure the people who paid a ton of money to sit behind him and stare at the back of his head are pissed. And more succinctly, you're not special, just sit the F down. He wasn't sitting.
Thank you.
When he posted a clip on TikTok, the unidentified fan wrote to Adele, "You started talking to me and I literally stopped breathing." His hand visibly trembled as he took a drink.
You enjoyed the show. Leave him alone.
When Adele stops singing, even security changes its tune.
Now,
Genius.
all right. So let's get into this because I'm of two camps. Okay. On one hand, if you paid money for your ticket, like you should be able to enjoy the concert. On the other hand, that guy is friggin' annoying. Like, I'm sorry. Yes, he's enjoying it. It's annoying. Like you're screaming off key, right? Like I want to listen to Adele. I don't want to listen to your ass singing, right? So who's in the wrong here? And was Adele wrong to be like, stand up because she had other fans that wanted him to sit down?
If I'm forking out, I don't know how
A
much
lot
it
of
costs to
money.
go to an Adele concert, but I'm going to think it's a pretty penny to hear her sing live. I'm not paying money to hear you screech out of tune.
Yeah.
Right? If I was sitting right next to that guy and I couldn't hear her because I had to hear him, like I love that he's joyful and his joy is infectious for her. Like that's so nice. But I agree. Sit the F down because we're at a concert where I want to hear it. If that's not the case, so let's take Taylor Swift.
Okay.
those are some pretty expensive tickets for people.
Way
People
too
are paying
expensive,
$3, $4, $5,000 or more, right? And I'm sure they wanted to hear Taylor Swift sing, but what they heard often was, a choir of teenage girls
Yes.
shouting
Great
all
point.
the lyrics to the songs. And I think that you have to know what you're going to, right? You understand the fan base before you go there.
Yeah.
And I think for most of Adele's fans, and this was a young man, and that's great, but most of Adele's fans are probably going to be middle-aged women, I would think, who
I'd go, but yeah, I guess I'm middle-aged.
I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
welcome to it.
I know.
Who want to hear the song. There's some times that Adele has a catchy thing and maybe you catch yourself singing along softly, or mouthing the words, or maybe you're dancing a little bit in your seat, or maybe there's a song where everyone stands up and they're boogieing or whatever. You stand in the aisle so you don't block people's view. But I think you have to be, we go back to this, being aware of your surroundings and being respectful and conscious of your space in the world and whether or not the people around you are fitting into what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Or you're fitting in with what they're doing.
Lee wrote in, we went to a Fleetwood Mac concert, 15th row seats, very expensive.
Wow.
The women in front of us stood on their chairs the whole concert, jumping around and nearly falling, ruined the show, not just for us. So here's my thing on that. And I'm glad that Lee shared that story. I do believe also, though, that if you want to stand up and shake, like if it's a slow song, do you have to be standing? I think that going to be aware of your surroundings. But if it's an upbeat song and you want to dance, okay, I think the people behind you could stand as well. But standing on a chair where now you're elevated more than you should be, I would call security over for that. Or security should be mindful of that. Like, no,
Right.
you can't stand on chairs.
Right.
There's people around you. Maybe even make an announcement. But so today when I go to Beyonce, now I love Beyonce. I don't know all of her songs. I'm so excited to see the big fans around me. I mean, there are moves, there are things you're supposed to do during certain parts of the show. I've educated myself a little bit on the things, like I know when I need to go mute. And then there's this whole fan thing that I'm definitely not bringing a fan, but I'm excited for the show within the show, right? Of the people that are really into it. And I'm sure I am not going to encounter anybody that's going to be like, sit down, right? No one's going to tell me to sit down at the Beyonce concert.
Yeah.
But if I get tired and I sit down, I'm not going to ever expect anyone around me to be aware, oh my God, she's sitting, we should sit so she could see. F that. No, I'm sitting because my feet are tired or my back hurts or something like that. You rock out. Like, do you? And I'm just going to sit here for a little bit, get my energy up, and then stand up again, right?
So when I started in radio, I worked for an alternative rock station in Sacramento, Quad 106.5, and also 100.5 The Zone. In doing so, I had to be at a lot of concerts. At the alternative station, it was the Goo Goo Dolls, Blink 182, Sublime. These are the kind of and so you expected people to crowd surf.
Right.
You expected people there was a mosh pit. You expected the people to be rowdy and crazy and excited to be there, and everyone to be jumping in unison type of thing. That's expected. But then I also was at a Sarah McLachlan concert, where she comes out and she plays the piano and her music is so beautiful. And you can hear people singing along softly, or maybe in some cases not so softly, but everyone is seated because they're mesmerized by what's happening on stage.
Right.
Whole different concert. And so I think that's just the way that the etiquette has to be. It's like, where are you going? How is it going to be? What's the music? What are the fans like there? And this guy obviously stood out like a sore thumb. I don't think Adele did her paying fans a favor, really, by siding with him, even though she's probably glad to have someone love her that much.
Yes. I would rather see people like him if I was on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And it must be like, I'm not going to say this. If I'm on stage singing my heart out, I don't care what kind of song it is, and everyone's just sitting there looking at me, versus standing up and singing with me. I want the singing with me. Andrea says, I went to a concert, first time getting front row. People complained to the ushers, try to make us sit. The artist, Rick Springfield, told them to leave us alone and that everybody should be dancing. See?
Okay.
I mean, I get there has to be a balance. I think that the guy was wrong I will say this. If he wants to stand, I think he's allowed to stand. You paid for your seat. I'd be mindful. I wouldn't stand necessarily during all the slow songs, but if it was a big song or whatever, okay. But don't sing as loud as the artist. If the people around you can't hear the artist, then that's a problem. Kind of a side note situation I found myself in. I went to a Dave Matthews concert years ago. I've seen Dave a couple of times. Okay.
Yeah.
And this was at Shoreline, and I was on the lawn. And if you've ever been to a Dave Matthews concert, there are long periods of time where he's just playing music. They're just playing music, and it's awesome, right?
Yeah.
Well, while he was playing music, I admit that I probably wasn't wrong. I was talking to my friend. Like, we were just talking. Like, I don't feel like we were talking very loudly, but apparently the people around us were very annoyed. And they said something to us, and we stopped talking. But I thought to myself, I was like, well, he's not singing, right? He's just... But again, it's this whole thing like we're here to hear him play. We're not here to hear him play with you talking in the background type of thing. And it's just this whole like, do you even have a conversation at the concert that has nothing to do with the concert? How mindful should you be to the enjoyment of everybody around you if your enjoyment includes, I don't know, talking about how you like this song? I don't know what we were talking about, but it's just, are we becoming just rude as a society that it's all about us? You know, I mean, I don't know.
So when Julia went to the Taylor Swift concert, my 14-year-old daughter, she wore a cowboy hat. She went out and bought one specially for this event.
Yeah, a lot of people did, yeah.
I looked at her and I said, you're not going to wear a hat to a concert? People aren't going to be able to see from behind you. And she's like, no, you don't understand. This is really small. And it was, as cowboy hats go, and everyone's going to be wearing one.
Yes.
Well, not everybody wore one, but there were enough people that they understood it was part of the thing. And I said, okay, but if you look around and ask the people behind you if they want you to take it off. Because if they can't
really
see,
nice
then you need to take it off. And you need to be cognizant of the fact that there's people behind you that paid a lot of money to be there, and they need to see around you as well. She also... Julia has a really good voice, and she's used to being on stage in the far back, and so people on the rafters can hear her. She kind of, I'm going to say, scream sings. Like she has a very good projection.
Projects, yes.
She's very, very loud. And I'm like, do not do your loud singing. Sing, but don't, this is not a Julia concert.
Right.
It's a Taylor concert.
That's so funny. You don't think you're giving her like a bit of a head trip every time she goes somewhere? Like Marley would tell me to shut the heck up.
Really?
She's like, I'm just going to go have fun. She's like, not that she doesn't care, but if I told my daughter be mindful of how loud you sing, she would totally roll.
Yeah, but you haven't heard Julia sing. Like, it's so loud. I love it. It makes my heart sore.
But at least she sounds good.
But it's so loud. No, I feel like it's and maybe I'm a Debbie Downer, or maybe I'm too on her like that, but I feel like it's my job to help her be aware of the world and her place in it.
Absolutely.
Because kids aren't going to be the ones that naturally go, oh, I'm offending people. Like, what if you don't mean to, but you don't realize?
Right.
So I say, here's a laundry list of things you could do to annoy the people around you. I'm not going to be with you, so pay attention. Just pay attention to your surroundings and how people are reacting. If you're screaming or you're wearing the hat and no one can see around you, not cool. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'm
no, you're smart. And I think, honestly, the way that you framed it just now makes sense. I just know my daughter, and she'd be like, I know Marley. She'll be mindful, and she's not rude. So, honestly, if somebody said, hey, can you whatever?
Right.
My daughter probably be like, oh, yeah, sorry. But if I told her beforehand to avoid all these things, she'd be like, I got it, Mom. Like, please stop. Kim, though, says, I pay for the seat, not to stand for the entire show. Some songs, sure, but you have to have respect. Again, I think it really, really matters. It really, it totally matters. Oh, what was I just going to say?
Maybe they should have a standing section.
Yeah. Well, and then that begs the question, because somebody in the earlier comments said, if you want to stand the whole time, be in the back. But I don't think the artist wants to see everybody standing and grooving in the back of the show. They want to see all those people
in the
at the front of the show.
Yeah.
Right. So, we'll see. I'll take videos. I am positive I will be standing for most of said it's 3 hours though, and I'm old, and I worked out a little too hard yesterday, so I'm kind of sore. So I don't know how much, and my husband and I, like, if I'm having a beverage, the other thing is you also want to stand, especially at a concert where everyone else is standing, because they have drinks in their hands.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be sloshed on and accidentally, because these things happen all the time. I've been to enough concerts to know that much. And Louise, it's so funny. Louise says there's a standing section. It's called the pit. Just a side note, my daughter had her first high school dance where they kind of had a mosh pit.
Oh.
Now, I don't know how intense this mosh pit was because my daughter's like, I got in on it. And I was like, you went into the mosh pit? Because I go and pick her up at this dance, and it was a very casual dance. This isn't a fancy schmancy dance.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to one of my mom friends because our daughters were getting a beverage. And all of a sudden my daughter walks over. I'm like, why is my daughter soaking wet? And apparently she got so hot in said mosh pit that she poured water all over her head. So
she really knows how to have fun, that one.
She is my kid. So yeah, she apparently had a very, very good time.
I was told yesterday I need to buy a homecoming dress.
Oh my God. I was literally just talking to my daughter about that yesterday too.
Yeah.
So is she going to get a date, or is it, I don't even know what, I don't know. I never had any of this.
I asked and she said, I don't know. So, okay. If you end up going with a group of girls, great.
Yeah. That's what my daughter said. She's like, I'm like, well, are you going to bring a date, or are you just going to go with your friends? And she's like, I think we'll just go with our friends. And I was like, she's like, I don't know. Do people ask other people to go to homecoming like prom?
Right.
And it's the HOCO, right? Will you go to HOCO with me or whatever? And I've never experienced any of this going to the high school that I went to. We didn't have homecoming. I didn't do any. I mean, I went to them with friends at other high schools, but not at my high school. And so I don't know what it's like. So I'm excited. And she's like, I don't know. I don't know what I'll wear. And I was like, that's why you go shopping. Like, go to all the dances, because until your wedding, like, when do you get to go to fancy schmancy dances or, anything like this? Enjoy it. Absolutely enjoy it, because
this will be our first pictures that we'll get of all these girls
excited.
in these formal dresses.
I
kind
know.
of exciting. Yeah.
I'm excited because I miss it so much. I really am trying to instill in my kid, even though she rolls her eyes at me all the time, go to everything. You don't do it at every football game, because if you're not really into it or you don't know, that's fine. But go to, like, obviously the homecoming game.
Yep.
Go to all those big rivalry games and things like that. Go to all the dances, because that doesn't happen when you're older.
Yeah.
Nobody's inviting me to a dance anymore.
Right.
Like, nobody's giving me an excuse to buy a fancy schmancy dress
Nikki.
anymore. You know,
tonight's kind of like a dance. You're going to the Beyonce dance. Yeah,
that's true. But
got a special outfit. You're getting ready to boogie. It's gonna be good.
I'm very, very excited. I am very excited. I'm gonna take public transportation, so we're gonna be safe. It's gonna take me forever, but I told my husband, because he's like, I told you yesterday, let's ride our bikes. I'm like, I'm not riding my bike in my cute outfit. That's just not happening. Not happening at all. I'm gonna be smushed next to sweaty people on a VTA train, apparently. So I'm very, very, very excited. But it does, the idea of dances does bring me to this next topic, which is this new Adam Sandler movie on Netflix, and it's called You're So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah. So for those that don't know, I'm sure we're all educated on this. A bat mitzvah is for girls, a bar mitzvah is for boys. And this movie includes, Adam Sandler's children. I do have a picture. I just didn't upload it. I'll bring it up. So it includes him and his daughters. Here it is. And it's very cute. I didn't realize until the end of the movie that these were his daughters, but it totally explains everything. Okay. And it's all about how his daughter is planning her bat mitzvah. So the girl in the red dress is the main character. The girl in the right plays her sister and is actually her sister. Those are his daughters. It's very, very cute. I thought it was funny.
How do you pick which daughter to give the lead role to? Was that, family
I think the one on the right is much older.
Those are both his daughters, right?
Yeah, and they both have significant roles. It's not as if the other daughter does not have a significant role in it. She does. It's just the one in the middle. It's her bat mitzvah that they're planning. It could be a bit, it's a high school, so there's high school themes in it and whatever. But this whole idea of celebrating an age in this way, what did you guys do? Let me know in the comments. How big of a deal should we really be making this? Now, there's obviously religious and cultural things that happen, right? Like a bat mitzvah, a bar mitzvah, and they cover it in the movie, the importance of it, doing something for your community, reading from the Torah. I know there's quinceañeras that doesn't happen at 16, it happens at 15, and it is a big freaking deal. Right. I only went to, did you ever go to any bar or bat mitzvahs when you were young?
I
went to one bar mitzvah. I still remember the guy's name because he had the best name. His name was Andy Valentine. Sorry if I don't know if anybody knows this person, but that's his name, Andy Valentine. I thought it was the best name ever. I met him there at this bar mitzvah, and it was huge. It was like at this hotel, like there was the music, the food. It was huge, and that was back then.
Yeah.
Nowadays, do you remember that show? I think it was like on MTV, My Super Sweet 16, where these girls, mainly girls, sometimes boys, they would just go all out, cars, fireworks. I mean, obviously, these are rich ass people, right? But how many of you made it a really big deal? What did you do? Do you remember what you did for your Sweet 16, Kim? Did you do anything big?
I think I had a slumber party.
Yeah.
And my stepmom made a fruit basket out of a watermelon. So she carved the watermelon like a whale. I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And it was a mellow thing. But, I don't think white people really celebrate do the big to do. Maybe.
I mean, I don't know. So for my 16, I think it was my 16th birthday that my parents threw me a surprise party.
Okay, that's nice.
I never thought in a million years that they would be able to plan a surprise party, but they did it. So it was really funny. I was spending the night at my friend's house with there was like 3 of us. Yeah. And I know they were older than me because they drove me, right? Because I wasn't 16 yet. And I remember my parents called me, and it doesn't even make sense. In hindsight, I should have never fallen for it. My parents call me and they say, well, I need you to come home to flip the ribs. I'll never forget this. We're going next door. I need you home at the ribs. They were making ribs and they were leaving them on the grill, which would never in a million freaking years happen. But they're like, we need you to come home and flip the ribs. And so I was like, okay. So I told my friend, I need to be home at this time because I have to flip the ribs. And they were lagging and I was pissed. I remember, I could still see it sitting in the back of the car, and my 2 friends are in the front seat and they're totally laughing at me. And don't laugh at me, especially at 16. Like, I was mad. I was so mad. I was so mad that when we pulled up to the house, they're still kind of giggling and whispering to each other. And I'm pissed, right? Yeah. I'm pissed. And I get out, I'm a door slammer. I slam the door. I'm like, F you both. And I'm like, go. And I run in the house because I have to flip these stupid freaking ribs. And I run into the house and then everyone's like, surprise. And the first words out of my mouth are, oh, F word. And my dad's like, nice, Nikki, nice. And all my friends are there, and my 2 friends come up behind me and they're cracking. They're like, you were so mad. And I was like, I had to come home to flip the ribs. It was so stupid. But anyways, I'm glad I looked cute for it. We were supposed to like go to some other thing that was happening. But yeah, they totally got me. But that was it. I have pictures of it. My friend just sitting around in my parents' living room. It wasn't like any big, fireworks, DJ, anything like that. But if there's a cultural aspect to it, is that an excuse to go really big?
There's no quinceañera. Yes. There's no, bat mitzvah. It's like a wedding almost. People spend as much as that big dresses and parties and catering and a band. And it's like a big to do. And yeah, that just doesn't happen in, my neck of the woods.
Right.
I lament that because that sounds really fun.
So you're telling me, well, I guess because Julia's 14, so none of our friends, so we haven't actually crossed that threshold yet, technically, because they don't have friends turning 16 yet. So you don't even know. Maybe it does. The Sweet 16 party does go big in Petaluma. You don't know. Maybe it does.
Perhaps. Yeah.
She might be invited to some hoity-toity, birthday parties. And then
I had a slumber party. My sister had a swim party in what's now my pool because we grew up next door to it.
There you go.
So, just kind of mellow things. But hey, if somebody has a party at a banquet hotel and it's a big deal and the fancy car is rolled out with a red ribbon, more power to them.
I love Cheryl. My youngest daughter went to a bat mitzvah and came home saying, I want to turn Jewish. Because it is a huge, huge party. Chris says, give your daughter a Sweet 16 party or she'll want a wedding at 18. Okay.
Oh, no.
Oh, a bat mitzvah happens for a girl at 12 or 13. Usually, I didn't know that, bride, because in the movie, I feel like it was 16, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was making a huge assumption. I don't know if they say the age. Hula Steph said, I had my bat mitzvah at 14. It was a big party in my backyard. So much fun. By the 90s, my niece's bat mitzvah was in a hotel, hundreds of people, and a DJ. Yeah, in the movie, I mean, again, it's a movie, right?
Yeah.
But all the things that they have to plan, videos, DJs,
Yeah.
the food,
It's like a
everything
wedding.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The amount of money.
Yeah.
But then, of course, I don't know if your parents ever said anything, but it's like also the money that you get back by throwing the big party. It's like,
Oh.
you put in this much money and then people contribute kind of to your college or whatever. I don't know if that happens at bar bat mitzvahs, but John says, I think we saw Jaws on my 16th birthday. There you go. Kim says we had nothing. I didn't even get a car. Boo-hoo. Yeah.
Poor Kim.
I know. I mean, I got a car. I shared this story already. My grandmother bought my brother a car for his 16th birthday, so she had to buy me one.
Mhm.
My parents like, if you're going to buy him one, you have to buy her one.
Equal treatment. Yeah.
Hell freaking yeah. Janet says, my daughter did a low-key 16th birthday party. We're doing a big to-do for her 17th. She will be in college when she turns 18. So I turned 18 in college too. So I had a big party. I had very big. My 17th birthday is where I met my future husband. So there you go.
Wow.
I know, right? Cheryl says, my mother did a surprise party for Sweet 16. I had my wet hair in rollers and looked hideous. I've never forgiven my mother for that. Yeah, I looked cute at least. Like my friends made sure that they thought that I was going to a party after I flipped the ribs.
Right.
I still beat myself up because I still can remember how angry I was at them. Because girls, if there's 3 girls and 2 of them are whispering and laughing and leaving the other one out,
Yeah.
no. Sandy said I had a fancy party when I was a kid. My mom would make a cake, give me a few presents, and I'd have a few friends over for cake and ice cream and games. Oh, the good old days, right?
Sweet.
Jim says my parents gave me $100 at 21 and said, go gamble. That was it. Besides some cheap grocery store cakes when I was 13. Yeah. Some people say, after a certain age, you shouldn't even have birthday parties anymore unless it's a big one, like on the aughts or whatever, like 10, 21, 30, 40, 50, 60, those sorts of things. I love celebrating birthdays. I say go all out every year. You know what I mean?
My husband isn't a birthday celebrator. His family wasn't a big on birthdays. So he's always like, don't even pay any attention to me. I'd rather just have it ignored. And it kind of breaks my heart that my kids are feeling a little bit like that too.
Yeah.
So it makes me sad. And I'm like, let's go. And then with a pandemic, when you couldn't have a birthday party, I feel like now's the time to really celebrate.
Right. Absolutely. SJ Lola, the movie significantly touched on the religious significance of a bat mitzvah. Maybe I just had the age wrong because I wasn't paying attention. But no, that's what a large part of the movie was about, was to do your mitzvah, right? Your contribution. They go to a Jewish school or whatever, and it's a major part of the whole movie, and it really is a cute movie. I highly recommend it. I know it's an Adam Sandler movie, and sometimes for some people those could be hit and miss, but I love Adam Sandler. Funny side story about meeting my husband when I was 17 years old. I used to think that my husband sounded like Happy Gilmore, Adam Sandler's character. I used to say that all the time. He still kind of does, but he's much older now. So John says my sister had a huge party when she turned 40 and rented a conference room for it. I'm turning 45. I want my husband to buy me Taylor Swift tickets for next year. That's what I want, honey, for my 45th birthday. I want you to buy me tickets for my 46th birthday to go see Taylor Swift in New Orleans. Hebrew school. Yeah, that's what it is. Natalie says, my son ditched us for his 19th birthday this year, and he and his friends went to Japan. He paid for it himself. I don't see that's a ditching. I think that's just taking himself on vacation. That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, do we make too big of a deal? Do we make too big of a deal about homecoming and prom? Do we make too big of a deal? Or should we be making big deals out of these moments?
What is life without, I mean, everything kind of melds together unless you celebrate the fun moments in life.
Yeah.
Why not have a life where you have something to look forward to and some exciting times? I don't know. My daughter, there was one summer, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, where there was a list of all the fun things, like a contest to do over the summer. And it was like, go to a movie or
like making a summer list or whatever. Yeah.
It was a summer list. And on the list was throw a friend a surprise party.
Oh, fun.
And all of her friends had this list, and they were all kind of racking up points to see what they could do. Well, she has friends that are twins, and they decided Julia has a summer birthday, and they were going to throw her a surprise party. And so they did. and it was at this pool up in, I think, Kenwood. It was anyway, it was really
Okay.
fun, and they invited like, I found 15 girls, and they just had the best time, and I was so
Oh,
touched. I mean, their mother paid for my kid's birthday party, and I was like, on one hand I felt a little guilty about it, but on the other hand I was so moved that they wanted
did
to
you know this
celebrate
was
her like
happening?
that. They told me, yeah, they told me it was
Oh, that
happening.
is so
It was
awesome.
really sweet, and it's one of those things I'll never forget, and I don't think she'll ever forget it either,
Well,
to
of
throw
course
a party
not.
for a friend like that. Yeah.
That is a good,
Yeah.
a bucket list type of thing of, and especially to do something for somebody else. I know
Hmm.
it's an overused kind of saying, but it really is better to give than receive. I get so excited if I'm planning something. Like
Yeah.
if I get somebody something special, I can't wait till they open it, right?
Yeah.
I'm like I get so much joy out of doing stuff for other people. Have I thrown? I'm sure I've thrown people a surprise. Oh, I threw my mother-in-law. I remember I threw my mother-in-law a surprise birthday party.
Yeah.
This was years ago because we had that conversation. No one ever threw me a surprise party. And so I did that. Yeah, I've thrown a couple of surprise parties for families and friends, but nothing like on my own with like one of my other friends. It usually was with the parents or something like that. Now, Liz makes an interesting point though about like homecoming and prom. Those high school events can be stressful
Yeah.
if one isn't included. If you're if you're invited to a dance, but it's not a big expression, like they don't do some big thing, does it count? Right? It's kind of like if you didn't post it on social media, did you really do it? Like
Yeah.
I worry sometimes that if it doesn't happen in a certain way that everybody could see it, that it's not as good as somebody else that got the big display. Because that's not what it's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be like back in my day, again, all girls school, I had to ask everybody to a dance. I rarely got
Yeah.
asked to dances unless I was already in a relationship with somebody. So I never had that kind of fear of walking the halls with boys and wondering if they were going to come over with a big banner or ask me to a dance or do a freaking
Yeah.
playground freaking dance off to ask me to something. It was just like, do you want to go to the dance? Yeah, sure. Okay. What happened to those days? It was a hell of a lot easier back then.
Julia has a deal with a boy in her class that
Oh,
if
okay.
they don't have dates, they're going together.
Is he what? I mean, is he a nice boy? Would you want
Really
to
nice,
like
really
okay.
nice boy, amazing boy, and they're really good friends. They're very good friends, and so I think they would end up going with a group of people, but they would be
Right.
each other's date,
Yeah.
right? So yeah,
Oh, if there was a
they're
dance, like they wanted like a slow dance, like, hey, let's go dance or whatever.
right.
I mean, I like that idea at the same time. Sometimes asking people to dances can happen at the last minute. And
Yeah.
so, what's the cutoff date, right? Of, okay, you're
And then
going with me for
she just
sure.
goes with her friends. She says she's aware that this could, at the last minute he could get a real date. So that's
Yeah.
fine.
Jim says, I think making big deals of things can set up mental issues when it goes wrong, like being broken up with at prom or a graduation party for a kid that can't find a job after that. 8th grade graduation, totally bawling because my boyfriend at the time wanted to go. We broke up and wanted to go date my best friend. Like devastated.
Yeah.
Devastated. Now, of course, I could give two rats butts about it, but at the
Well,
time,
life
most
happens.
devastating thing that could ever happen, right?
Yeah.
It's hard, and that wasn't even during social media, right?
Yeah.
It's now imagine adding the pressure of being asked, going to a prom, something tragic happening, and I'll put tragic in quotes because it is devastating to be broken up with. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. Debbie says, I've always felt it's important to celebrate a life. I always did something special for my kids, not necessarily expensive, just special and personal.
Yeah.
My
That's
last
nice.
birthday. Yeah, my last birthday was really sweet. That was kind of technically the second surprise party my mom threw for me. So if you guys remember, those that have been with the Nikki Medoro show on YouTube for a while, last October is when my daughter was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and my birthday fell right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And I was obviously devastated. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was very, very upset. We had just gotten laid off. Like October of last year wasn't the best month, but it was also my birthday month. And I remember I walked into my parents' house and it was my birthday. And my mom was like, just come over for dinner. And all I wanted to do was just eat dinner with my family and just kind of go home. I was depressed, right? I was really sad. And I walk in and it's October. It's the end of October. And my mom had these long tables that she usually has out for like Thanksgiving dinner. And I remember I walked in, I'm like, why do you have Thanksgiving set up so early? Like, I was so confused. No, she's like, we're having a party for you. I invited people over for your birthday dinner. And I remember being so kind of upset because I did not want to be around anybody. Like, I was so sad. I was really, really sad at that time, making me sad all over again. And I'm so happy. Like, honestly, like this October is going to be so much different than last October because my daughter's much more healthy. But I was so sad. And like, I'm like, Mom, I was like, that's so sweet, but I really don't want to be around anybody. And I remember I was there and I was kind of coming to terms with it. And I was upstairs in my dad's office and the door was shut and then the door opened. And my brother, who lives in Arizona, had shown up.
There you go.
And I was like, oh my God. And it wasn't expensive. It, like, literally my mom and dad just made a fabulous dinner and I had friends over and my husband knew about it and my best friends came over, but my brother was there and I just could not stop crying because it was just like, that mattered to me. So it was a 44th birthday, not technically a big one, right? But it just meant so much. And yeah, so, you know, the only thing that could probably make that better, honey, is if you buy me Taylor Swift tickets for my birthday. Just kidding. It was really, really sweet. But yeah, birthdays, I celebrate everything. You never know when it's going to be the last one. Lori says, sounds like Julia knows how to pick good friends. I'd stop worrying about the stoners.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, honestly, you have got a good kid there, Kim McAllister. She knows rights from wrong. She knows rights. My daughter, literally, I tell her all the time, like, stay away because you're going to be influenced all the time anyway. But we got some good kids on our hands.
I think so. I think we do. Hula Steph says, back when I was bat mitzvahed, it was still not 100% approved for girls. My Orthodox grandpa was totally against it and wouldn't come. I can't wait to see the Adam Sandler movie.
Oh, definitely see it. Everyone was there. That's kind of whack. Sorry, Grandpa.
But it was a
like,
boy thing, but not a girl thing. I don't know.
Mitzvah is more than well, because I learned in the Adam Sandler movie, because I don't know much about Judaism. Women apparently already are in heaven. Like, they already have their path, so they don't need it. Is kind of the argument. You don't need a bat mitzvah because you already have your road to heaven, which is kind of nice. Yeah. But I still want the party. Like, what the hell? Come on now.
I want the dress. I want the cake.
Yeah,
I want the band and the hotel ballroom. Come on.
Exactly. Like, wait. I know I have my path to heaven.
Have you seen the quinceañera dresses?
The what? Oh my God.
I mean, I want that dress. Come on.
No, I want all the dresses. I want all of the dresses. That's what, again, going back to going to all the dances. How often are we able to dress up all fancy, get our hair done? I mean, yeah, you can go to a wedding, and if you're in the wedding, but sometimes you don't even get to choose your own dress if you're in the wedding. And then I'm at that age where not everybody's getting married. Now people are getting divorced. So there's no party necessarily for that I'm going to buy a fancy dress for. So yeah, no, they're a full-on wedding dress. Oh yeah, no, because it is like, what do they call those other things? It's not a quinceañera, a cotillion, right?
A cotillion, yeah.
Your introduction to society. Yeah. So they do all that, right? Yeah. But I feel like the dresses might be a little more subdued during the cotillion.
That's true. I think I said white people don't have anything in their culture that does that.
Oh, they have cotillions.
That cotillion, yeah. But I think that's kind of a multicultural thing, right? I mean, anyone can.
And that's a rich people thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a rich people thing. That's right. Middle class white people, we don't have anything.
Okay. So there's no heaven or hell in Judaism. Now I need to watch. I don't know if they said heaven or hell. Don't quote me on it. But there was something of like the women already have their path. That's all I know. Something like that. Just go, Lori and others, watch it and let me know tomorrow what you think.
A lot of people like it. Randy says it's got a 96 on Rotten Tomatoes. So good.
Really cute. It was there was some teenage topics, and things like that. But I thought it was really cute.
Is it a Julia and Marley movie or is it a mom movie?
Well, Marley has already watched it, so
well, there you go.
I watched it first. But that was just the kind of the timing of the whole thing. But all of a sudden, like, she's sitting at the table and she has her iPad up, and I hear the movie going, and she was watching it. It's there's no pornography type stuff. There's kissing. Right. You know what I mean? And then there's like gross things like teenage things, but it's not like American Pie or anything like that. It's wholesome. It's wholesome.
Would you let Dylan watch it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd watch Dylan. I'd let Dylan. Dylan's 12 though.
Yeah, that's
so,
true.
I'd let Dylan watch it.
Jacob's not 9, so I still have to be careful, a little careful.
I think that I'm trying to think, is there a lot of cussing in it? I'm sure there is some, maybe, but not a lot. It's not a bad movie. I don't know what the rating of it is. I don't know if it's like a PG. I'm assuming it'd probably be a PG movie.
Yeah.
But I liked it. Go see it. It's really cute. And it's a topic that, it's PG-13. Yeah. So there you go. Parental guidance suggested. Okay. I want to play this one video. No. Should I save it for tomorrow? It was blowing my mind and I wanted to show it.
Oh, well, now that you've teased me with it, you have to show it.
So I'm driving in my car yesterday. I was picking up some prescription for my kid. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting at the light and I get this news alert. And sometimes I get stupid news alerts from CNN, right? I'm like, what the hell is this all about? Let me just make sure that there's not an ad before I start playing it. Okay, here we go. So this is this nurse. I don't know why I'm playing this for you guys. It has literally nothing to do with anything, but it's a world first. So it is news. Mm-hmm. Scientists found something living inside a woman's brain. And the reason why I'm playing you this video is I absolutely love the scientist that found it. Because if there was ever someone that you want to describe it, it's this lady. So here she is. This is Australian surgeon Dr. Hari Priya Bondi describing what she found. Let's turn it all the way up. All the way up. Here we go.
I dissected around the abnormal area that you could see on the scan. I thought, gosh, that feels funny. You couldn't see anything more abnormal. And then I was able to really feel something separate. I took my tweezers or my tumor holding forceps and I pulled it out and I thought, gosh, what is that? It's moving. Take it out of my hands. And we put it in a path pot, thank goodness. And it's gone away to the scientists to find out what it was. So we immediately called the infectious diseases doctors and asked, what should we do next? It was definitely not what we were expecting. Everyone was shocked. And the worm that we found was happily moving quite vigorously outside of the brain. For many months, she'd been really struggling and it was.
So that's it goes on. But the crazy thing is the poor woman was in her 60s, had been forgetting things, was getting depressed. It was all because of the worm. So I don't know. I was like so excited to show that video. It didn't really fit in with everything else that we're talking about, but who knows? Who cares?
They say she got it because she collects greens down by this lake. So and kind of like a salad green. So she would collect these greens and take them home and make a big salad out of it. And they're saying that maybe there were eggs on those greens and they weren't washed well enough. And I know it's not Australia and we don't have that worm here, but I'm still thinking I'm going to now triple wash all the lettuce leaves.
Well, and I guess this sort of worm also loves to feed on like snake, when they shed their skin or whatever. Yeah. And they like to, and so that's why they're in this area. There's a lot of snake habitat that she lives next to. Look, more power to you if you forage for your food. But how about triple, quadruple wash it? Or you could end up with
they think that it might be in more of her organs now.
I could not sleep at night. I would not be able to sleep at night.
They think it's in more of her organs, so that she's on this medication and she's under doctor's supervision and monitoring. Like, because, one went to your brain. Where's all the other ones? I'm just saying. How many eggs do you eat?
No, Lisa, I think I need to check my mother-in-law for brain worms too. That is so funny. Just wash your food, people. Wash your food. All right, click the thumbs up button to show your support for the show. We appreciate it so very much, and a big thank you to everyone that donated. Yeah. Harry started us off with $5. Sorry you had to be in the office, Harry.
Yeah.
We love having you here live, but thanks for watching in replay. Sam, our #1 fan in San Francisco. Thank you. You rock, Sam, and thank you for the donation. And Luis, I will buy something with your donation from the merch shop. I'm going to see Beyonce. I'll take pictures. I'll try to get something. Look, I gotta take the kid to tutoring. I hope that there's merch left, but I will get something to wear on the show tomorrow, completely hungover and exhausted, but worth it because I'm going to be dancing with Queen Bee herself, Beyonce. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Go to Mark Thompson and then stay for the after party live from 1 until 2 o'clock. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. Miss Brown, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.